All right. Let's see what we got here. Good morning, good
Let's see what we got
afternoon,
here.
good evening, wherever you are located.
Good morning, good
Let's see what we
afternoon,
got here.
good
Echo going
evening.
here. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Wherever you are from in the country, in the world, it is an absolute honor to be kicking off day 3 of our 5-day AI challenge, a challenge that has been jam-packed with an amazing audience, an amazing student base of all levels of technology, whether they are working full-time jobs, getting ready to establish their side hustle, whether they're leveling up their side hustle, or they are going full entrepreneurial mode. Everyone has come together Monday, Tuesday, now today, Wednesday, to level up, learn, and take action. Today's is a jam-packed day, but as we're getting this live warmed up, go ahead, regardless if you're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, doesn't matter where you're at, go ahead and throw in the chat that you are tuned in and where you're tuned in from. And by now, if you've watched some of the replays and the lives, you know that I'm going to give my best to you to make sure that you have everything you need to give your best to your customer. So I'm going to ask you for a small favor. Go ahead and throw in your story or share this live stream on your feed. So if anyone in your network has been thinking about learning or getting into technology, they already know what you're up to. You're in the progress of leveling up and getting yourself ready to serve the market with your AI executive reception service, or however you want to package it. So let me know where you're tuned in live. And I'm going to go ahead and start giving us another minute here to really start getting into the kickoff of what we have planned for today. So I just got to check some quick settings on my end, and I will get moving and grooving. See what we have here. Load this one up.
And I will get.
All right. We got Laura from Slovenia, Kevin from Minneapolis, Jason from New York. See here. Welcome, welcome. We got Eduardo, Delaware, Mexico. Juan, Bogota, Colombia. Albert, Colombia. We got Colombia in the building. We have Andy from Germany. See where everyone else is tuned in here. Jump on this YouTube feed. So I'm warming up here and I'm starting to learn. We got Luis, Newark, New Jersey in the building. We got to catch up one of these days, brother. Kim from Southern California. Robert, Yorba Linda, California. Kevin from Atlanta. Kevin, going to be at an event next week in Atlanta, the Brand Yourself event, man. Atlanta, I'm looking forward to Atlanta. We got Melissa, Mississippi. All right. Got folks warming up here. That's one thing I was telling some past colleagues from previous companies I've worked at. We were just chatting and catching up. Hey, John, I'm seeing you with High Level and all this good stuff. I said this audience is totally different than I've ever experienced before. The folks that are tuned in the mix,
Level and all these
learning, it's amazing. It's such a fuel to the rocket ship. Kathy from Carlsbad, California. Welcome, welcome. Folks, we're going to get right into it. Looks like we got the engines moving and grooving. We got folks tuned in. Our Zoom meeting is filled here to the top. For the folks that are on the Zoom, we purposely disable the chat, the cameras, and it's just so that we can move the conversation where most of our viewers are at, and that is either 3 places. It's either in the Facebook group of their choice, whether it's the High Level official community. Go ahead and find that one. The High Level SaaSpreneurs community, or the High Level 5-day AI challenge community, or the High Level job community. And then folks that are on Instagram and YouTube, you're more than welcome to stay there as well. And communicate there. We promise to get back to you. Couple housekeeping items I want to make sure we touch on for our new friends that have joined with us. Welcome. We've been at this for the last 2 days. You can pick up where we left off, but let's just stay focused on what we're working on now. and then we'll show you where you got to go to play catch up. But there's a few housekeeping items here, and those revolve around engagement, just letting us know that you're tuned in, letting us know your questions. So if you have a question, go ahead and type Q and then your question. Our support team, our moderators, our software is going to start compiling those questions. And then as we get into day 4 and 5, we'll have an extensive Q&A. And then we're going to put those Q&A questions in a one sheet for you that you can go at your pace and just kind of see where you're at and maybe what you might have missed based on what others are asking. So please Q and then your question. Another housekeeping item here is that if you just jumped into the challenge, be on the lookout for an email in the next week, because we're going to invite you in that email to the membership course. We're going to invite you in that email to the Facebook group. And there's more to just this live. This live is an added value. The meats and potatoes of this course and what the 5-day AI challenge is all about is in the membership course that my partner from our product team, Haplin, Milgram Hills, has put together step by step, as well as in our 5-day AI challenge group on Facebook that thousands of folks that are in previous challenge or the current challenge are introducing themselves, engaging with each other, and making progress together. So there's so much more. If you are just finding out about High Level because maybe you clicked on a hashtag or someone shared something or you saw an ad, High Level is an all-in-one software that allows you to take all of your marketing needs and features and things that you would have normally purchased one by one and put it all in one to capture, nurture, and close. And the software is robust. It's heavily customizable. And if you go to gohighlevel.com or you click the link below, with our special link below on this stream, you're going to be able to get started with a 30-day free trial. Normally, it's a 14-day. This is a 30-day free trial. And once you get in there, there's no stopping. So just want to give a little sneak peek of what you might have missed out on. If you're returning again or you're picking up from a day that you might have missed, welcome. Ready to rock with you. And let's get this going here. Today's topic is all around sales and prospecting. Now, there are many ways to approach sales and prospecting. So let's just put that out to everybody. I have a network, friends, acquaintances that are in sales and prospecting. They do it for their full-time jobs. They do it for their agencies. They teach it as a career. There are so many different methodologies, strategies, and ways. What we've put together for you today is based on the success track of past attendees that we've had in the challenge, as well as some of our community thought leaders within High Level that have shared their feedback and we've made adjustments. This is always upgrading and changing and evolving. But what I want you to keep in mind that this sales and prospecting training is a foundation. As you start to see the different parts of this training, you might pivot and go a different route. And it all matters from there based on your industry, your niche, or your overall big picture strategy of what you want to accomplish. So please use this as a foundation. Allow yourself to challenge your mind and your thought. Get into conversations within our groups and start to craft what is your perfect sales and prospecting strategy from there on out. I'm going to go ahead and share a few slides here because all of which is going to help you visually picture and start to see the progress in the process. And then we're going to get into a little bit of scenarios, talk tracks, collaterals, jam-packed hour and a half, 2 hours that we have planned here. And if you're watching this after the fact, go ahead and type in hashtag replay. Let us know that you're tuned in if you're watching this after the fact, hashtag replay, so we can pick up and help you as you go. Awesome. So without further ado, let me move some windows around here and let's get this going. All right. So day 3, prospect and sales. Let me just move one more thing here. Boom. Right. Okay. There we go. So day 3, prospect and sales. There's 3 topics that we're going to talk about here. Three core topics we're going to talk about. And that is at the basic level, how do we get in front of a prospect? You know, I, I get the question from time to time, John, like, I love what you teach. I love your energy. I love this. I love that. But like, how do I get myself with what you've shared and taught in front of people so I can share my superpowers to them? And that's exactly what we have planned to show you today. So you're in the right place at the right time with the right group of people. Second is, John, now that I've once established that relationship or that open conversation, what do I now say to engage and keep them engaged? How do I move this along the line? We got you covered. We got you covered, regardless of your previous experience, your current experience, or the training you might be in now to elevate your experience. And then lastly is, how do I close deals and set expectations? And there's a couple of scenarios to think about here. One, I'm brand spanking new, never sold anything in my life, not a salesperson, but I can give good consulting and guidance, right? We're going to help you transition that. Two, I'm good at sales, but I've never sold a digital product. I've never fulfilled a digital product. I don't know what I don't know to make sure my client understands that I'm giving them the value that they deserve and that they're paying for, right? And then three is, now that I had the conversation, I have the process, how do I make it work great so I get 5-star review, customers happy, giving me referrals? Like, what are the small nuances associated in the big picture process of positioning, selling, and closing? And we're going to cover that as well. And by the end of this live session, you'll have everything you need, at the very least, to feel comfortable, confident, start getting into your network and starting conversations, and then having that roadmap of what's next after each step. So if you are on board with being the student and just following our framework and just following our lead on this, and then adding your expertise or your past experience on top of it, go ahead and type in ready. Go in the chat wherever you're at, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, wherever our stream is going and you're watching, go ahead and type in ready. And with that, we're going to get kick-started here. Let me just move some of my notes here. Okay. And move this along the way. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I want to share this slide here. I'm going to stay here for a while. For those that jumped in day one with our offer, we spent a lot of time on our gateway offer, our core offer, our expansion offer, and then the downsell offer. If you remember that, go ahead and type in the chat offer. Okay. And if you don't remember that, or you don't remember watching that section, or you haven't got there yet, tell me more about the offer, right? Just let me know that you don't know about the offer, and we'll get you some information on how to find more about it. But if you know the offer, type in offer. If you don't know, tell me more about the offer. But this is so important because when we started with the gateway offer, just to remind everybody, that's our low impact entry. And then we convert them into monthly recurring revenue, like a utility bill. And then we understand their business within those first 72 hours on the onboarding call. We understand their goals in our onboarding appointment, our follow-up appointments, and then we expand, right, by adding additional services based on the needs of their business, all with the goal in mind of making a measurable impact on their revenue, right? Because of this and this and this and this, we're going to give you an opportunity to get more customers because of it, or upsell your existing customers. That same strategy applies for the conversation. So every successful sales conversation has 4 phases, right? 4 phases. And it starts with you being the moderator, right? You hosting the conversation. And as you host the conversation, you're walking them through the next part of the conversation. And if done with practice and confidence, the prospect that you're working with will start to uncover and share what their story is, what they're looking to do in their business, where they're at now and where they want to be, and then how they make decisions on getting started, right? And that's, back in the day, it was, ask the question, get the answer. Today, more and more, it's the consulting approach, asking great questions, listening, active listening, taking that answer to that question and using terms like, help me understand this just a little bit more, right? Actively sharing like what you heard and asking for clarification, right? Help me understand is a great way of saying, could you tell me more, right? And as you start to uncover more, as the prospect is speaking it, they're also hearing it, right? So, there's a saying out there, be vulnerable, put yourself out there. And what that essentially means is share maybe the hardest things you're going through, share some of the things that maybe you wish were better. And as you share it, you hear it, the brain then says, let's make a change. And when the brain starts saying, let's make a change, the eyes are saying that you are the solution, the pathway to make that change. So let's just say, for example, I meet with you at your office, you're the business owner, and I'm just chatting with you. Hey, it's great to finally meet you in person, or it's great to finally have you, on the Zoom. I know our schedules were conflicting, but it's amazing now. Like, how's everything been? Like, what's going on in life, right? Anything fun? Like, maybe it's the summertime or whatever the case may be. Just find out about their personal journey. You want them to share their personal story. You don't want to get right into business. You want to get into person. If I get into understanding you as a human being, I then understand how you run your business. I then understand maybe what are some of the core values that you abide by within your business, or the things that you believe in when running your business. And I share that with you because the worst thing you can do is just show a slide deck and then go slide by slide by slide by slide. It's very offensive. It's too direct, especially for small to medium-sized business owners. Now, if you're working with someone maybe in a corporate environment or they're a procurement team, like, well, yeah, they're going to want the straight line facts. What do you got? What do you do? How's it going to help? How much does it cost? But we're working a majority with small to medium-sized business owners. So the small mom and pop on Main Street or side street wants to share their story and be heard and be felt like they're not just a dollar sign, right? Think about this, that someone meets you, they look at your wrist for your watch, they see you have a nice watch, they look at your clothes, they see you're well-groomed, and they say, you got money. You got money. Let me sell you something. How would that make you feel? If I saw your watch, your presence, and I said, she's got money, he's got money, let me sell them something. They need something that I have. Very offensive. So we want this to be a smooth, two-way conversation. So as we're moving and grooving here, we're not going sales scripts, but there was a saying, as I was getting in my sales journey, the practicing you do behind the scenes is what comes out when it's go time, when you're in the sales meeting. So, putting together an agenda is important. Putting together some talk tracks is important. And practicing that naturally to yourself, whether it's recorded in front of a mirror, that's important to practice, because you're going to do and say what you practice. And then you can customize based on the information that you collect and the person you're talking to on that. So that's what I want you to keep in mind as we're going through here. This slide here is what we call the bridging system. The bridging system has 4 phases. And, we call these the golden conversation rules of how you have a chronological conversation, right? The worst is to be jumping all around. And the goal of this chronological conversation is to understand every part of the person, the business, the operations, their current state, their goals, and then how they're going to take action. So very important. And when you have this type of conversation, it makes it very clear to the person you're speaking to that they need to make a change. That should be the end result, is I'm making it clear to you based on what you're telling me, what I'm repeating back, what we're uncovering, that you and I agree that there needs to be made a change, and let's make it together. So let's talk about phase one, the story phase. Go ahead and type in story in the chat if you're tracking along with me and you're understanding what I'm sharing, right? You understand what I'm expressing and sharing to you. Go ahead and type in story. If you don't, or you have questions about what I've gone over so far, type in Q and your question regarding what we're speaking about right now. What we're speaking about right now, type in Q and the question, and we'll get to it. I promise you. That's my commitment to you. So the story phase one story, allows both you and the prospect to familiarize each other's business backgrounds. So what does that mean? Well, you want to make the conversation around the business owner first. So you want to understand their story, by asking questions like, tell me a little bit about, how you got into the business or the industry. Could you share a little bit with me about, when this was passed on to you in the family business, what were some goals that you had in mind to implement that you may have not been able to yet? What does that vision look like for your business, right? Just open them up, and you'll notice that you might have to ask the same question twice because they don't get it, they don't understand it, they're not 100% paying attention to you yet, which happens, believe it or not. They're on their phone, they're thinking about their business, they're thinking about their kids. You don't know what's going on in their life, so they're not 100% on you, right? But you stay 100% on them. Keep the conversation in line. So as you start to understand like how the business started, how they fit in the business, what they've done so far, just like personal questions, you can then get into asking more about their story. So let's just say, I have a chiropractic client, a prospect that I meet at a networking event. I meet this prospect at a networking event. We jump on a Zoom meeting because that's what's convenient for him. And I say to him, hey, doc, how did you get into chiropractic? How did you get into this field? What was your calling? What was your what inspired you to get into this? And he's maybe say, well, John, my dad was a chiropractor, or, one day I got hurt and a chiropractor saved my life, or, these conversations will come up, and, I'm sharing it from previous stories that I've had and learned about. People will get deep based on your eye contact and your body language. So eye contact and body language matter to listen and to show them that you're interested. And as you start to uncover that conversation track with them, you want to start getting into from personal to business. So, Doc, how did you first get started, with making this your own business? So I understand that you used to work for another doctor. You were there. Then you opened up your first location. Could you tell me like how that started, right? And what was your goal? Or you tell me a little bit about, and then they're going to tell you about that. Well, John, I saw an opportunity. I moved with my family to this part of the town. I saw that this town didn't have any chiropractors, and they'll go into their storyline. But your goal is to give them the floor and control to tell that story, right? And if there's a pause, acknowledge it and stay quiet, because they might just be catching up or finally start being involved in the conversation. Right? Have you ever like been part of a conversation and like one side of your brain is like giving like your automated AI style responses? Yeah, I get it. Or I absolutely, right? Like you just have like those AI automated responses, and then the other side of your brain says, all right, what are you saying? They ask you a question, and then that question gets in answer mode, and now you're like in the conversation now. Like John has entered the conversation, right? That's what we want them to do. We want them to enter the conversation even though they're there with you. And as you start to do that, you're going to notice this is a great sign. Here's the punchline. Here's the aha moment. As they start answering with more in depth, that's when you know they're starting to trust you more. They're starting to care about what you're asking. They're starting to see that you are different than the last 5 people that walked in the door, or the last 10 people that called them, or the last 100 emails that they received. You are different. That's the goal. I'm listening, I'm learning, I'm different, I care. And now you're keeping this going by navigating the conversation and keeping the interaction concise. So, you don't want to let them go off on a tangent either. You don't want them you got to keep them, you got to keep the bumpers in place, and they'll appreciate that, because they know time is everything. And they're at some point, if you let them just ramble on, here's what's going to happen. I'll give you the next punchline on what's going to happen. They're going to say, oh my gosh, I got to go. I got to go. I didn't even realize what time it was. Or they'll get a phone call, or someone will tap them on the shoulder. Your appointment's here. I got to go. Hey, let's catch up again next time. And you're still on phase 1, right? You didn't get into building more rapport. You didn't get into the meat and potatoes of the business. So there's no commitment to you. You were just listening to them and a good listener. You want to be an attachment. You want to almost come off like, the advisor. I got to give John some more time. When I call back, if they have to go, they have to go. Like, obviously respect that. But if you have a good, concise conversation with understanding the business, them understanding you a little bit, and then getting into the numbers a bit, then they got to go, that's fine. But you could say, hey, Doc, look, let's do this. I can come back in about an hour and a half. What's that look like for you? John, let's do 2 p.m. fine. I'll be back at 2. I'm going to go run around to some other appointments. I'll be back. Right? If that's an in-person or a Zoom, whatever it is. No problem, Doc. I'll be back. Or tomorrow. What time to work tomorrow? Don't leave that conversation, if in fact they have to go, without the next step. Always the next step. When are we meeting next? Okay? And you'll earn that in your phase 1, listening, navigating, going, and so forth. Let's pretend here that they're giving you the time. You're on schedule. You've perfected your agenda with them for phase 1. Let's get into phase 2, which is the number phase. What we've built upon in phase 1 has earned the trust, and now they're open and comfortable sharing with you what you have going on. And the number phase, let me just make sure I can throw this chat up here. Give me a quick second. The number phase is a little tricky for you. I'm going to tell you why it's a little tricky for you. It's a little tricky because if you talk money so quick, you lost everything. If you talk money so quick, you lost everything. So here's the number 1 rule with phase 2. Never be the first to bring up finances directly in the sales conversation. Never be the first one. Go ahead and type in the chat, never be the first one to talk money. If you're following along, you're tracking with me, type in the chat, never be the first to talk money. It's very offensive for a small to medium-sized business owner. Very offensive because, we went from telling my life story to talking about what my goals are to talking about what I want to do for the business. And now you're going to say, I can help you do all that. Here. How much it's going to cost? Huh? Oh, that's why you asked me all these personal questions and I got vulnerable with you. So you can pitch me something. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I learned that firsthand. One of my first companies that I was at when I worked, I had the opportunity of working with 2 types of business owners. The ones that enjoyed advertising with paper, right? The books that you've probably have seen, depending on your age, that they would ship to your house, right? They would be yellow. They would have like an advertisement on it. Like I used to sell that as part of my sales pitch when I was in sales. I know. And then, I used to sell digital too, digital marketing. And there were 2 different type of business owners, and I had to learn really quick that not both are the same. And they don't have the same goals. They don't have the same ambitions and plans. So I found myself, punching myself in the mouth by saying, I should have never gone there with that one. And I scared them away. Or, they think I'm just here to take their money. So I learned very quickly that it's got to be a smooth conversation, genuine, true, caring, but also business as we phase into it. So number one rule, never be the first to bring up finances in the conversation, and begin with volume-oriented questions about their business activities. So what does that mean? Let's go ahead and use the example of go do me a favor. Let's do this. Throw it in the chat. What type of industry would you like me to use an example of? Throw in the chat what type of industry example would you like me to use as an example here? Okay. Got that. So let's say here we have the heating and cooling service provider. They install, heating equipment, air conditioning equipment, they do repairs, the whole nine, right? So if I'm having that conversation with that business owner, whether it's in the parking lot of the Home Depot, the Lowe's, at their job site, I'm having a concise, smooth conversation in phase one. I'm now moving into phase two, and I'm saying, well, Joe, tell me a few things here so I can help me understand how you operate the business now when it comes to attracting new homeowners that are moving into your area that are now having problems with their systems. How do you go about attracting those folks? And then Joe's going to share. We do direct mail. We do, the books that go out. We do, flyers. They're gonna elaborate, right? And you're gonna listen and you're gonna take notes. Many of you probably have great memories. Just let them know that you let them know you care by eye contact and by jotting down notes, right? If you text it or type it, they're gonna think you're not paying attention, even though you are a fast two-thumb typer. Paper pen works great. So let them know. And if it's just some quick squigglies, that's fine too, as long as you understand and you can refer back to it. Because the active listening in this part matters most. So, Joe, what I'm hearing is, and help me understand if I'm on the right path here, you get most of your new homeowners that move into the community by traditional marketing through like the magazines, the books, the flyers. Is that right? Okay, great. Is there anything that you're doing with digital outside of your website? I saw your website. It's beautiful. It's great. Is there anything else you're doing outside of that? And they're going to share, John, no, I had a young gal, or I had a gentleman, I had somebody I was working with. I just fired the last company that I was with for a bunch of years that didn't do anything for me. Like, I'm not doing any of that now. My bread and butter is in my word of mouth and my print marketing. Okay, that's fine, Joe. And that's exactly what I need to understand. Tell me a little bit about how you maintain the relationship with your existing customers. How are you maintaining the relationship with your existing customers? And they might say, what do you mean? Right? So you have to use the question to fill in the gap of where you may not be clear to them, but you're clear because you know it already. See, that's the mistake I made in my process, my learning process. And what I've heard from others is like, we know it, so we assume they could read our minds, and then we're not clear. So then they just run away from the conversation. So make it clear, and you might have to ask the question two different ways so they understand it. So now, you say to them, how do you maintain that communication with your existing clients? Like, for example, are you sending them email reminders of what's going on when the seasons change? Are you sending them text messages? Do you have an app or an invoice tool that you're plugging folks' name, phone number, email in? How do you have that conversation with them that have already paid with you, use your services, or need warranty services in the future? And they'll go into what their process is. Again, you're jotting it down and you're understanding it. This is all about them and how they do business. And you'll learn very quickly as you're going through these conversations with these different types of business owners that everybody has their own way. It's not the same or unique or consistent. They might be using pen paper. They might be using their phone, their notepad. They might be using a very old antiquated process on their computer that's like an exe file, and you have to like install or some sort of CD. You know what I mean, right? Or they might have a big, robust CRM that's industry specific. All of it is fine because all we're doing right now is understanding how they do business with their customers. And our goal is just to understand that process and picture it where we can assist them. Now, because we know that high level has a bunch of features, we're not looking to replace anything. We're looking to go in with our gateway offer in the back of our mind, gateway offer, and see if they talk about anything with AI, automation, reception, live chat, live person, things like that, right? But we're not pitching, we're just listening for it, trying to get the clues. And as you go that route, you want to start pivoting as you understand their business and how they operate it. You want to start to understand their products, services, and how they go to market with it. Like, what's their gateway offer? What's their core offer? What's their monthly recurring revenue offer? What's their expansion downsell? So as you understand it for your business, no matter what level you're at, you start to understand it for their business, and they won't understand the wording. Like I went over gateway, core, expansion, but you'll have to describe it and then it'll click for them. Because in the heating and cooling, many of them have their like $99 service call. That's their gateway offer, right? Then they have their monthly or seasonal inspection. That's their core offer. Then they'll go into their expansion with their new installation of a heating system, a cooling system, a boiler, an air purifier system, or other things that to grow from there. Maybe they're, just without getting in depth, that expansion is like a bigger, higher ticket item. And then maybe they're downsell because once they offer that expansion offer, it's a one-time done. Maybe they go into a service where every month it's $99 that includes filter changes, 24/7 support, emergency calls, whatever the case may be. There's like a membership associated for their customers. It's very prevalent now where service businesses are doing that first priority. So you want to understand what they have in place, because now you as the advisor, the business advisor, the expert, you're not the digital marketer, you're not the AI marketer, you're the business advisor to their flow. You're now going to be able to give educated advice to how do you assist them. Okay. And as we start to do that, those conversations get real exciting to experience by the numbers. And you start to learn more and more about industries. Now, my recommendation to you is that before you meet with somebody in a specific industry, go online in their industry, maybe industry sponsored websites that are out there. So if it's painters, go to the International Association of Painters, go on to any of those forums where they'll go to get their information just to see what's happening, what's new, and learn a little bit about how they do business ahead of time. And as we evolve, that numbers conversation is not just how many customers you have and how much you charge. It's how do we grow your bottom line? Go ahead and type in the chat, I want to grow your bottom line. My job as your business advisor is to grow your bottom line. That's my job. If we're going to work together, Joe, and you have 10 trucks on the road, you want to get to 20 trucks on the road, right? As I'm listening to you, I'm understanding your vision. You have 10 trucks now. You want to get to 20 trucks on the road. You got 10 employees now. You have a front desk. You have your wife who handles HR. You have your dispatcher. Everyone's been with you for a long time. You want to get this to 20 trucks and 5 internal staff members to run the operation, right? With the goal of jumping into a new market. Am I hearing that right? Perfect. So based on what I have here, I also took some notes on the services you offer. Could you tell me a little bit more about your strategy that you have in mind with servicing your existing customers that have not reached out to you in 6 months or more? Have you thought about that? And Joe's going to start saying, you're going to start seeing This is what you're going to start seeing. I never really thought about that. I never thought about that. Or you're going to start seeing the eyes squint a little bit. You're going to start seeing like a little bit of a facial expression, or that I'm thinking, because now you got them understanding. Like, they don't look at you now as just a salesperson or someone that's trying to sell a marketing. They're looking at you now as their business advisor, somebody who knows more than them where they want to be because of the experience. And now they're like, no, I never thought of that. I never thought of that. Okay, great, no problem. I have a plan that I want to share with you, a strategy, and we can customize it based on what you're looking to do. But help me understand this. What is the timeline that you want to accomplish the 20 trucks on the road, the bringing on 5 more people, the bringing on 3 more certified technicians, promoting, your 4 employees that have been with you for 5 years? What's that timeline look like? And they're going to start to say, well, John, I never thought of that. No problem. Let's start thinking about that. Because when I come in to help you when the time is right, I'm going to be able to amplify that from many different areas based on my experience and my resources, right? So we're going to use your way of doing business, your experience, and I'm just going to add on to it to get you where you want to be, and then we can go from there. And then they're like, all right, I've never had anyone tell me that. What do you do again? Here's another one that's great. What do you like? All right, so help me. What do you do again? Because now they're going to think like this person has presented themselves as the expert. They know their stuff. They're listening to me clearly. They're repeating what I'm saying. They took a page of notes. This person is not just a salesperson. What gem have I uncovered by accident? And that is a compliment to you. And that's not going to happen overnight. I promise you there. But this is the framework that you're going to perfect. Maybe you watch this video again. Maybe you grab a few nuggets and you start complementing it with your existing trainings that you're doing, or other professional sales trainers that are out there, and embedding it. Okay. And that now becomes the bread and butter of where we go moving forward, right? That becomes the bread and butter, right? Go ahead and type in the chat, bread and butter. If we got to end of phase 2, we have bread and butter. I love bread and butter before a little dinner. I'm not going to lie. My little pet peeve is if I'm going out to eat and there's no bread and butter, or bread and some oil, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Bread and butter. Get me comfortable. Get me understanding that you know what I'm talking about. Let me know you respect my time. Let me know you see my vision, that you can help me grow my business. That's the bread and butter. So as we got the bread and butter going, now we need to serve up the entree, right? Because we don't have no room for appetizers. This is the bread and butter. Now we're going to entree. The entree is we've earned the time, trust, and now we're going to get into market product fit phase. Market product fit phase. And the objective of that market product fit phase is to ensure the products or services offered are a good fit for the market and the specific business. So what does that mean? It means there's 2 ways to go about this. One, what are they offering now to their community, to their customer base, to their prospect base? And are they missing something that they're not aware of, right? They're missing something. So if they're still doing heat up tune-ups and it's already past, the winter, or we're getting into the spring, well, we have not yet promoted spring tune-up. We're behind the ball on something. We don't have the right product market fit for your audience, Joe. We need to get what your audience needs and wants. And then that's also product market fit for you, right? So you'll find out that, yes, the gateway offer will work. The gateway offer will work most of the time, because we know with our gateway offer that when people come to the website and there's no engagement, no hand raising, no conversation, they're going to leave. But as you learn about their market product fit, and then you take your product suite, you can start to picture and discuss from a high level overview, a bird's eye view overview of different ways that you fit into their plan after we solve the initial pain point, which is maybe communication, conversation. I don't have time to answer the emails, the phone calls. It's only me, or I need to put people in other things. We need to solve that AI receptionist problem, right? Based on the pre-work that we did, we saw they don't have anything in place. We need to solve that. And then we can start to imagine and picture where the other features, benefits, and functions work in. So you have to understand their market product fit and yours. But I want you to be cautious. I want you to be cautious about something. Do not accept a commitment right off the bat without asking second and third layer questions. So what I mean is someone says, "Oh, you know, I love everything you're saying. I love everything you're saying. Let's just do it. How much does it cost?" Well, you're gonna find that that's like that's not what you think it is. Put it that way. That's not what you think it is. That's just them getting to the point. I just want to know how much, because you gave so much value that they think this is going to cost thousands of thousands of thousands of dollars and they don't want to pay that much, or they're not ready for that and they just want to dismiss the conversation because they've gone too deep with you already. Right. So let's just say, hey, look, based on what I'm understanding here, I can share some ranges, but I just have a couple more questions. Help me understand these few things first. Right. And your goal is to, right, the overall goal is to, right, make a business relationship, but you want to set the right expectations. So this is where we're going to start setting the expectations, right? Start setting expectations now by the conditions of their business. So I understand the market product fit. I understand what they do, what they want to do. Now we need to put the plan together for them to easily understand. So Joe, I'm looking at your website here. My experience and analysis shows me that you're doing ads. You have people coming from traditional marketing, advertisement. You have customers going onto your website. They're filling out forms. You're not getting back to them quickly as possible. They're sending you messages on social media. You're not getting back to them. It's causing friction and angry clients. I'm also noticing that you don't have anywhere where customers can get questions answered that are basic or maybe frequently asked. And I'm also noticing that there's no way to capture visitors on your website that are unidentified, right? That they don't fill out a form, or they don't call you, right? So it's unidentified traffic. So what I'm thinking about here is you're the perfect fit for my AI receptionist service, where we install the live chat on your website and it starts to capture people that are coming in for whatever reason and engaging with them. Like we're, two-way conversation. Have you ever thought about that before? Have you ever thought about in the past maybe having someone dedicated to communications or conversations? I have, John. I have thought about it, but it's just too expensive. I can't pay someone $20 an hour, or better yet, I can't find anybody that wants to work. Like that's like the biggest thing with contractors. I can't find anybody that wants to work. I completely understand, Joe. I completely understand. This is not a problem isolated to you. It's everyone in the industry that experiences this at some point or time. So I just want you to imagine this, Joe. I want you to imagine that folks that are coming to your website from advertisement, organic traffic to your website, they're visiting your social media, they want service, they go to your Google business profile, they're clicking a button to chat, they're clicking a button to learn more, and now you don't have to worry about someone responding back 15 minutes or 60 minutes later. An immediate conversation starts and goes on without you or a staff member. Have you ever thought of that as an option? And they're typically going to go one of these. I don't got the money for that. I don't have the money for that. I don't have the time for that. I'm not techie, John. Look, John, I understand where you're going with this. I appreciate it. I'm not techie, man. I'm this. Or my wife, my wife doesn't want us to get too techie. We don't want to get too robotic because our customers love us because we're family owned and operated. I get it. I completely understand. I resonate with that. But do your customers appreciate that you're not responding right away at their availability? Do they appreciate that it takes 20 minutes or 60 minutes to get an answer or confirmation? Do you feel that you might be losing customers or have a leaky bucket based off of that? And you may or may not know the answer. That's fine. But I want to show you that it does exist, and this is what I've helped others kind of plug that hole. All right, well, tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me what you got, right? You're going to get that. You got to be ready for that. No one's going to say, hey, here's my American Express, or here's my Visa, or here's my cash, or that ain't going to happen. You're going to have to navigate the maze, navigate the conversation. That's why you're bridging the gap in this phase 1 and 2, because you built up the trust, knowledge, and understanding in those 2 phases. Now we're getting into phase 3, right? And it's not going to be easy, because if it's easy, it's not worth your time or theirs. You got to navigate as the business advisor, the trusted advisor, right? So as we start doing that, you're going to notice that things are going to start clicking. You're going to start getting, your swag, your comfortability, your confidence, and now they're leaning in. They're all in. Tell me more. What do you got? Okay, how do we do this? I like it. I like the idea. I'm thinking this. I'm thinking that. Or I thought of this. I thought of that. But tell me more. Those are good signs. Those are good signs. So let's get into the last phase as we phase that in. If this is helpful, if this kind of me going scenario example with context around each phase is helpful, go ahead and type in the chat, very helpful. Let me know that this is worth your time so we can bake this in maybe in a couple of slides or an additional training, because I respect all of your time. So let me know if this is very helpful. And if you need more clarity, go ahead and type in the chat, more clarity. Go ahead and type in the chat, more clarity. And we'll start, treating this like a coloring book. We'll just add a little bit more color and a little bit more detail within the lines, right? We're coloring in the lines here. We just got to get a little bit more detail. And then we got a good picture, right? So let's get into phase 4. Everything you've done through phase 1 through 3 is exactly what a business owner expects without expecting it to actually be done. Because, there's so many amateur salespeople out there. There's so many people that don't care. They just want the sale. They just want to move on. It's a scarcity today that people spend time, they sit down, they have a cup of tea, they learn with you, they listen, they take notes. That's scarcity out there today. And if you're doing that, you're not going to get results, right? And although results may vary based on your efforts and your knowledge and your practice and your experience, following the structure is important. The structure is important. So let's get into the decision-making phase. If you're ready to go into the decision-making phase, go ahead and type in ready to make a decision. I'm ready to make a decision. Because that's our goal, is for them to be ready to make a decision. And, the focus during this time is understanding how the prospect, how the business owner. So let me put it this way. If I'm having a conversation with you on the other side, right, and you're a business owner, and we've gone through phase 1, 2, and 3, like, and trust me at the first to second degree. That I know for a fact, because by this time, I spent maybe about 45 minutes with you, right? And you're giving me more time. The phone's ringing, people are tapping your shoulder, you're hitting the ignore button, you're engaged, right? So I know I'm doing my part up to now if I see those signs. That being said, I now have gone from discovery, positioning, understanding, product market fit, industry fit. Now I'm getting into understanding how you do business. How do you do business? And what does that mean? It means a little bit more than just that you take, the 24-hour rule to think about it. It's more than that. Understanding how you do business is how I understand how you process things, how you set expectations, how you police those expectations if they're getting done, how you go about giving time and committing to the process, and then how you continue the conversation for fulfillment. Like, you want to understand if they're the business owner type that they just sign and then you can't get a hold of them, because those are not good customers to have, right? Sign something or give you the card here, take the card, right? I don't want those customers. They're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to help. They're not going to listen. They're going to charge you back. They're going to ask you for that money back because they never cooperated with you. There was always a gap in the fulfillment. So they're going to call their credit card company and say it was fraud or no good, or they're going to say, hey, send me my money back. We didn't do anything. Gap, no good. Not good for business, waste of time. So I want to know how they process things, and then I want to fill the gap so that way when I say to them, help me understand how you prefer to do business. Do you prefer like email, like going back and forth as we get this launched? Like, how can I expect to communicate with you? Can I call you? Can we set up some times where I can get on your calendar? Do you prefer text mostly? Are you more of an in-person? Are you okay with us jumping on Zoom? And then who else needs to be a part of us launching? Who else needs to be a part of us launching? In my early sales days, I learned that typically the person that gives me the credit card is not typically the person that's going to be the daily active user, the person who's going to use the service, interact with me every day. They're not going to be the person in most cases. It's typically Susie, Joe, Jake, John, or whomever, son, daughter, brother, sister, cousin, mother, it doesn't matter, that's going to be in the software, managing the responses, working with me day to day on giving me updates, me teaching them how to use everything, building the relationship with them. That's the person I need to understand. Where are they at here? They're not here now, but where are they going to start being in? Right? And then how do I keep you, Joe, in the mix too? When do we touch base? And as you start to understand how organized they are, you start to understand how interested they are, how important this is to them. Now you understand how they make their decisions and how they hold their promises. And you want to ask them, tell me typically, what do you have in mind when we get this started? What are your expectations? What are your hopes and wants? And Joe, I just want to make sure I'm setting this up for it to be exactly what you expect with the results that I'm promising you, with the structure that we're going to put in place. And they'll share with you, John, look, I'm a busy guy, right? I'm in Florida for 3 weeks out of the year. I got my kids, I got this, I got that. Jason's my service manager. You'll be working with him mostly. Tara's my dispatch manager. You'll be working with her. And then Jake is my head tech on the field. You'll be working with him. No problem. Joe, could you do me a favor? Could you get me them an introduction? And then can you promise me that when I text you and call you, I'm gonna do so, it's for important reasons and that you'll take my call? Absolutely, John, I'll do that. Great. We set the decision and the execution all in that one area, right? So if that resonates with you, or if you're experienced, right? If you're experienced in sales, go ahead and share with me if this has been helpful. And what's a nugget that was helpful for you? Was it maybe how I delivered an example? Was it maybe a different, view or strategy? Go ahead. If you're experienced with sales, just share with me what's one thing you took out of this review right now together. And if you're new, go ahead and share with me what you're going to start focusing on, which is maybe a potential weakness of yours. Is it understanding someone's story? Is it maybe learning the questions you need to ask for your niche or your industry or just in general business? Is it understanding a little bit more about the conditions and how I transition 1 through 3 into 4? That's going to be important for me to know as I go back. But let me tell you here that by following these phases, you're going to effectively guide the conversation. You're going to effectively handle objections that are minimal and that are big rocks. You're going to lead the prospect, the new business owner friend. I used to always call them business owner friends. You're going to lead the new business owner friend into making a decision point a reality, having faith that someone is here actually to help them and not just take their money and run. And that'll lead to one or two things. One, it'll lead to an either immediate sale on the spot. They're going to say, all right, John, I got to go. I got to really go now. I appreciate it. I'm all in. You got me. I'm great. Let's do it. Right? And they're going to give you the car. You're going to process it. No problem. I'm going to be a few minutes here on the side, getting everything going. I'll give your car back to you, whatever. Right? Perfect. Great. Or they're going to say, John, I need to think about it. And I don't want you to feel deflated if they say they need to think about it. I need you to look back and think, did I ask all the questions in the numbers, in the story numbers and conditions to find out who else needed to be involved in the conversation? Or did I rush kind of through because I let them lead the pace of the conversation because they never really opened up to me. Now, keep in mind, someone that says I still need to think about it might be for a few reasons. One, maybe your product pricing is out of their budget or they've been burned so many times they don't trust. Two, maybe they want to cancel an existing service they have, or they want to run it by someone. They just have this self rule that it takes, I gotta just consult. That's fine. You'll have no problem to pick up where you left off as long as you built the rapport, the trust, the confidence as their trusted business advisor. And you should be able to continue the conversation through text or phone. If you're still in the email thread with a small business owner, you didn't bridge the gap. You didn't bridge the gap because business email is just too professional. That's designed for more sending, deliverables, updates, reports. You want to be in that text to phone voice. So important. If you're in their ear or you're in there, if they're reading you, you're important to them. You want to be in the important side. You want to be the asset, not the liability. Okay. So as you do this structure, when done over and over and over and over and over, becomes like clockwork. Clockwork. Telling you. You ever get a new watch and you look at the watch and it has the dial, and depending if it's a watch with fun widgets and little numbers and all this stuff. I've always you look at it like, is it 12 or is it 1 or is it where is that hand at? Like it takes you a minute to get the time, right? But after you look at the watch so often, you're like, it's a quarter to 1. It's 1:30, right? You just know it real quick, right? You want that feeling with your conversation and presentation. You want it that you don't even have to think about it. It's just organic to the point where you're sitting to the side, you're taking notes, they feel the vibe. So important, right? And we've seen this work over and over and over and over and over, right? And we've seen it tweaked, we've seen it modified, we've seen it adjusted. So if you're tracking with me and you found this time that we spent together, we spent about an hour on this, guys, gals, friends, about a solid hour, but I'm telling you, this is the foundation. Without this, all you have is spammy, what's in it for me, weird, awkward, question mark, question mark, question mark conversations and messages. There's no substance to it. They're just, this guy's desperate. This gal's desperate. Click, block, block, block. This is going to get you starred, friend, answered back to. That's the goal, right? The goal is to be in the circle, not outside looking in. Want to be in the circle. So if you found value in that, go ahead and type in the chat value. Let me know if you found some value. And then if you didn't, go ahead and type in some questions that will add value. Help me understand. Help me understand what you may need a little bit of help with. And then I can jump in and assist you, right? I can start to position and adjust as needed. All right. We are moving and grooving here. So, I want to get a little bit, okay, so let me do this here. We went over a lot with this structure, right? Now, I want to say that the sales script that I'm going to show you, the strategy I'm going to share, it may be totally different what you put together, and that's fine. Because when you do an outbound message through Instagram, Facebook, when you meet someone in person, we all have our starters, our conversation starters, whether it's a hand motion, an eye contact, just organic tonality. Like my whole thing is I see someone, Joe, what's going on? I want them to smile within the first 5 seconds that they hear their name and they see me, Joe, what's going on, man? How are you? And it's like a weird, like little friendly voice, right? That's my style. Yours might be, something totally different. That's fine. You got to find your conversation starter. And as you do that, you start to build your conversation starter through text message, through email message, so on and so forth, right? But the overall goal is to take that message, that text that we read, and get vocal and visual, in person, visual, on Zoom. That's so important. If you believe you're going to close deals, relationships, help people, be part of someone's business as a pen pal, email pal, it ain't going to work. It is not going to work. It works for celebrity, people that produce products, well-known products in the market. That's different, right? It's like a shopping cart, e-commerce, that's different. But with what you're doing, they need to know who you are and what your business is about. So we're going to get into a few of these things. These are, guides, frameworks, and typically it's in follow-up to two types of interactions: a virtual networking meetup, an in-person meetup, right? Both go together, networking as the one, or a phone call / text message. Okay. So let's go a little bit into both. Let's say, for example, I meet you, the med spa owner, at a virtual networking event. There's a handful of them. Handful of virtual networking events. You could Google it and I'll show you how to find them. But I'm on the Zoom. I join in. We get 15, 20 seconds to go around the room. I say, hey, how are you guys? My name's John Bermudez. They call me JB. I work for High Level. And our number one goal is to help business owners have an all-in-one place to capture capture leads, nurture them, and build new relationships. If you're interested to learn more, let's chat. Oh, by the way, I'm a Eagles fan, right? You want to throw like that catchy little style, like the personal side, right? Now I get someone that messages me, hey, John, I'm an Eagles fan too. Or, hey, John, tell me more. Now I have the permission to speak, right? That comes from a virtual networking event, same as a in-person networking event, right? I like the in-person ones better because they get to see my style and personality, eye contact. It's human. We're fine. Either work great. But we're positioning ourselves. We're not selling ourselves. We're positioning ourselves based on our personality, style, and openness to make new friends. If you have someone that's like this, that doesn't give you the permission to make a friend with me. And that's vice versa. If you see someone like that, they don't want that. Or you could be the icebreaker and say, hey, look, quick question. You by chance looking at the score for the games? That happened? Whatever. No, I'm not. But by the way, I'm John. Nice to meet you. Where are you from? Oh, and now we're going to small talk, right? You got to open up. You have to be the facilitator in the conversation in any sales and prospecting way of doing business, period. No matter if you're selling cookies, cupcakes, med spa, equipment, gym membership, doesn't matter. You are in charge of the relationship. So now we take those concepts of introduction at a networking event, and now let's say someone says, hey, John, I want you to meet my wife, Jane. She just opened up a med spa business in town. She's been looking for someone to help her out. We're doing the grand opening on Tuesday. Could you just take a look? Absolutely, man. For sure. Now he introduces me through a text message to the wife and the partner and say, hey, Jane, Tara, I want you to meet John. I met him at a networking event. He works for some company called High Level. He can help you, blah, 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 blah. And I say, hey, everyone. I throw a little emoji. Now continuing the personality and the question. And now we're getting into phase one. Phase one happens now off of just that form of meeting someone. See how this all works together? Right? You have the agenda without saying, hey, I have an agenda. Right? So phase one comes in. Now let's take that text message now turns into a phone call. So now we have the vocal, and then maybe it turns into a Zoom meeting or an in-person appointment, right? But we want to know their story first. So when you look at this slide here, let me share this. This email, I've now given you context on how you need to customize this email. Customize this email based on the context I gave you and the framework, so that way it doesn't sound salesy and cheesy and desperate. So, hey, Jane, I wanted to reconnect with you regarding the grand opening of your med spa business, super excited with what you have going on. I did a little research after speaking with your husband. I would love to get on your calendar. I did notice that you already have a Google business profile and some great reviews. I'm excited to learn more about what you have planned prior to the grand opening. When would be a good time for us that I could either come by in person or grab a chat with you on the phone to learn a little bit more and understand what you need now before the grand opening and what your goals are thereafter? Right? And then maybe I just keep it short. Remember, when we do email outreach, we want it to be personalized and we want it to be above the fold. We don't nobody wants to read, and I'm guilty of this, 5 paragraphs because they're not going to read it. So it's above the fold, mobile phone friendly view. If I have to swipe up, you lost them. Okay? Go ahead and type in the chat. My email needs to be above the fold. Above the fold. Above the fold. So important. And when we do the email, we have to personalize it and base it off the conversation that we last had. Base it off the conversation that we had, whether it was text, email, in-person meeting, referral, recommendation, whatever it is. So, John, this is all great and dandy. But right now, and this is scenario 1. Right now, I'm working for a company full-time. I don't have time to go to networking events. I don't have time to attend virtual networking events. As a matter of fact, I'm bombarded, and I just want to get this started from as a side hustle to learn and build upon it, right? So I'm going to go now into how do you go that route, right? And typically we go that route by building upon existing relationships. It's called Dream 100, Dream 10, Dream 25. Typically the dream is like who you want to ideally work with, and then the number is based on how many you want to put a list together of. Dream 100 might be too much for you. You may not even have 100 contacts in your phone. Dream 10, start with 10. Start with 5. Whatever you prefer, just start somewhere. The number one bottleneck is starting. Start somewhere. So how do we start? Let's create a list of familiar contacts, right? Within our phone, within our Facebook friends list, right? Because not everyone from our Facebook friends list is in our phone, right? Sometimes, we have best of friends on social media, but we know nothing about them outside of social media. We just know what they put out there for us to consume. Maybe we have friends from professional organizations. We know them from the events. We don't know their personal lives. We don't have their phone number. We don't call each other every day. We don't text every day. So we gotta build upon that. They're still warm because they're familiar with you, right? So let's create a list of familiar contacts for outreach, right? Let's keep in mind that it's going to take some time and investment and creativity on our end, where we're just not going to send them a quick message above the fold and expect them to consume it, swallow it, and say, hey, here's my money. We got to warm it up. We got to look at their profile. We got to look at their website. We have to know what's going on in their business a bit. Give them a compliment and start that conversation. So let's say you have someone that owns a gym, right? You haven't talked to them in a while, but they're posting a lot. Hey, Jerry, want to just send you a quick message, man. Kudos to you for just helping so many people, man. I see your post. I'm rooting for you. I'm looking forward to maybe connect with you again and see what's new. Jerry's going to be like, all right, that's a little random. Hey, John, man, it's great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah, things are going great. When can I see you again? When will you be by? And then now you're going back. Now you're taking the active listening part, like you're taking the back part of their sentence, and you're continuing the conversation to be relevant. Hey, I was actually thinking about maybe stopping by, saying hi in person, seeing what's new. Don't show up with the intent of having an appointment then and there, right? Like we're in a different sales cycle in this world where people like know the fluff, they know the bull. So be respectful of people's time and like let them know that I'm interested, but I'm also interested to introduce something to you and like do it with finesse, with finesse. Then you're going to start prioritizing those conversations and those folks, right? Maybe you have a few conversations right away, maybe you don't, but you start prioritizing based on the relationship strength. And that could be like a referral from your brother, your sister, cousin, maybe former close friend started a business, right? You reconnect. You get to determine that. And then you have to obviously initiate the conversation. Before you start getting into the AI chat feature introduction, though, let's get into the bridging the gap process I showed you. It's phase 1, phase 2. And remember here, it's a little different in this part because we're using that framework to guide us, not necessarily to interview them, right? Or to dig deep. We just want to understand like, hey, what have you been up to? How's everything been? Like, I see this, I see that. I was looking through your profile and kids are growing up so fast. And they're going to eventually say, well, John, like, what are you up to, man? I see you posting or I see you out there. Like, what's new with you, pal? Now we're connecting. That's the magic. That's the magic. And then from there on, we're connecting. They're going to ask you what you're up to. You slowly get into it. And then you say, hey, look, as a matter of fact, I'm putting together a project, a beta. I would love for you to try it out for me and give me your feedback. You mind giving me some of your feedback on something I'm working on? Yeah, what do you got? What do you like? That's when someone says, yeah, what do you got? Or yeah, tell me more. What do you got? Yeah, for sure, man. Oh, absolutely. That's when you know, like, you got the roller coaster went up, and now it's like, all right, now we're moving, we're going. Now we're hitting the loop-de-loops, right? That's what we want to feel. And then we nurture the relationships. And nurturing the relationships basically allows us to create a new starting point. The starting point now becomes like, let's commit some time to this. I would love your feedback, but I also love to show you a few things, share some ideas, learn more, and see if we can do something together. So we could do something together. And that's how that Dream 100 starts to flourish. Pretty cool, huh? If you find that cool, if you find that something new, something you never thought of it the same way, go ahead and share a little bit of feedback, some of your feedback, maybe a nugget that you took from this process, something, maybe an aha moment. I'm more interested in what you're thinking because I don't get to hear from you right now. I'm just kind of looking at my chat here. I got you, Mario, Travis, Stacy, LHS Marketing. Got some amazing people here. Raphael, Melissa, Juan, Anthony. I'm going off of right now the high level Facebook business page. It's facebook.com/high level reviews. I got to upgrade my screen game because I got the laptop, I got the main screen here, but I'm working off of that Facebook business page. So if you want to jump on there and throw some of your aha moments or your takeaways or your questions, I'll take them there all day long. Let's move on. So now, as we're, by now, friends, you should be feeling good. You learn the Bridge the Gap framework. You learn a little bit about Dream 100. You understand the goal of the Dream 100, how it works. You're working with familiar people. You're leveraging that previous relationship or familiarity to help them with some pain points they have in their business that may or may not be aware of. You're building trust and you're getting practice. Practice, 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 practice. If you're having one conversation a day, it's not going to feel great. If you're having 5 conversations a day, you're on the right path. Ideally, you should be having at least 15 conversations a day. Conservatively, 15 conversations. Texting, phone, a little bit of Messenger, a little bit of WhatsApp. Because either way you go, WhatsApp, Messenger, or phone, it's a good ping pong game. If you like ping pong, throw ping pong in the chat. If you like ping pong, throw ping pong in the chat. But if I'm doing ping pong, like when you first play ping pong, right? You miss the ball. I gotta go chase the ball. I gotta go chase. But now I get in my rhythm. And now I'm shifting my hands, right? Or tennis. If you're a tennis fan, throw tennis in the chat. That's the magic. Where the ball hits the rod, and now you're like, all right, I got this. I feel good. Now I'm asking better questions. Now I'm understanding better industries. So you want to get to about 15 conversations and then elevate them. If you're doing text mostly, get to the phone. If you're doing phone, get to be in person. If you're doing in person, get to be in a group, right? And then vice versa. If you're in a group, get to be one-to-one. If you're one-to-one, get to the text. Blend, a nice omni blend. Omni blend, get a little bit of everywhere. Social, text, phone, in person, group, networking event. Host your own little gatherings if you want. You got so much flexibility. And at the end of the day, the purpose of it is to understand more about their business, what their target is, what their industry standards are. Because you're in business doesn't mean you know business. Let me repeat that. Because you're in business does not mean you know business, right? So think of this way. If you own a pet, let's say you have a pet dog walking business, right? Or you have a pet sitting business, right? You could understand the concept around, you know, pet care, responsibility around it. How much is the average, cost? What's the expectations, security, all those things. You can understand that part of the pet business. But if you don't understand how to promote the business, how to engage with the prospective clients, how to attract new people, how to build a brand, how to give people a great customer experience, although it's just a dog walking business in your mind or a pet grooming business in your mind, the average customer value is about maybe $150 for grooming and more, depending on what it is. So it's a business, but there are gaps in the business owner's mindset because they're focused on maybe one part of the business, which is just keeping or getting customers the way they know. They're not thinking about everything else involved in doing so. So you have to be the trusted business advisor, stay up with your knowledge and industry news, and know where to go to give them value, educate them. When you educate, you start to get a different level of relationship. So with that being said, now you start to, help them explore products, audiences, trends, goals, based off of what you've learned. Now you speak their language. Now you speak their language. So think about this. If you've ever been to an amusement park, whether they're doing a dolphin show, an orca show, seals, whatever it is, any of these major theme parks, they have their whistle, right? Very, very light whistle. Barely you can hear it, but the pet hears it. The animal hears it. The mammal hears it. You're speaking their language. You're not yelling what to do. You're speaking their language, whether it's hand signals, sound. You need to speak your business owner that you're working with language, and that's understanding their business. And then you're tailoring that knowledge to what you can help with, leveraging the Bridge the Gap conversation framework. So now there's so many gems in this Dream 100 that this is really all you need if that's what you have available. Because if you do too many things at once, you're not going to get anything done. And now you start to understand their business from how you can help solve. So if I'm going to meet with, Sharon, the dog groomer, right? She's a mobile dog groomer, right? I've seen her truck around. I've been a customer every once in a while, right? I'm gonna start asking her questions. So, Sharon, how do those that see your truck parked while you're taking care of one of your pet members, how do they get a hold of you? How do you communicate with them? How do you let them learn about your business? Do you have a QR code on your truck? Do you have your phone number listed? Do you get inquiries from people that don't know you from your website? And you start to understand these things. And as you understand them and you understand the AI reception tool, you start to piece together, okay, AI reception tool makes conversation swift, smooth, and streamlined. Swift, smooth, and streamlined. So how do conversations get started? whether it's from a website interaction, whether it's from a website submission form, whether it's through Google Business Profile, social media, wherever, it's going to go into the platform, and then the conversation AI takes it from there. So you need to start sharing that story. And the majority of small to medium-sized business owners, they don't have live chat because it's too expensive. Or the people that have positioned are too salesy. They're not in it for the relationship. They're in it for the sale. You're going to be different. And then understanding, look, if you had 15 people come by your website or your social media and they responded or they reached out to you, you never responded to them, you lost out because they went somewhere else. So that's how you start building upon that. And it's going to, as you're doing this process, you're going to learn. You're going to always be learning. There's some old sales movies out there, and they would say ABC, always be closing, right? If you know what I'm talking about, or you've seen it, or you heard it, old school way of making relationships. We're closing them. We're closing deals. Now, ABL, always be learning. Always be learning about the industry. Always be learning about the potential prospect or customer you want to work with. Always be learning about how your customer is working with their customers. And you start by looking at their website. You start by looking at their social media. However and wherever their customers interact with them, the AI reception tool that you're getting ready to go to market by the end of this week, if not already, is going to solve the biggest problem they have now, which is getting back to people fast, giving their customer what they want when they want it, and streamlining the communication so they don't have to juggle through phones and text and loose paper on call back this person. No more. We're streamlining it all. But you have to know what they have now. And then you have to be the conversation starter. And then you have to be the relationship builder and maintain it. And then you have to express interest in their growth, in their future, in their personal journey. You have to facilitate that. When people think about digital marketing, right? They think about digital marketing and digital citizens and digital nomads and laptop lifestyles. And people think this is easy stuff, that we just do this and it's like a quick, whatever. No, there's a lot of emotional responsibility in your shoes and in those that do this for a living. They support and feed their family by providing digital marketing services. Know what I mean. There's a lot of emotional time, understanding, and relationship that's involved to even get a customer, let alone to service them and grow with them. So you have to truly want to work with the person you're working with for it to even be worth your time or enjoy and learn as you go. So you're going to get to pick and choose who you want to work with. Not everybody's for you, and that's okay. Because my commitment to you is that with what we've shared here at high level, from this challenge, from our just tons of hours and hours and hours of content and strategies and interviews and spotlight sessions and workshops, it's really up to you to execute and build a plan that serves your area, your business style, and what your customer or potential customer needs. Okay? But at the end of the day, none of that happens without active listening. So asking the right questions, understanding, always adapting, always learning, always growing, building trust. It's all here. Be all ears. For those that are new with us at high level, just learning about us or maybe jumping in, this is Hiley. Hiley is our mascot. So if you ever see Hiley, that's our mascot, and just be all ears. That's what we live by here at high level. We're all ears to our customer and to our relationships, right? And if you get this down packed the right way, you're gonna have your phone blowing up through phone calls, text messages, right? And you're gonna have to manage the conversations, the relationships. You're gonna have to set up your AI to answer those frequently asked questions, right? You want to drive the traffic to your AI website so that way your AI could assist you in your journey, right? Results may vary, right? But let's just forward think here of like how this is all designed to evolve your structure and getting your AI reception agency up and running, right? And there's a handful of text message scripts, frameworks, styles. You can customize it, obviously fit your personality in, right? But these are some conversation starters. Hey, Johnny, how you been? It's been on my mind to reach out and share some pretty exciting things with you. Or, hey, Johnny, I see you doing some fun stuff, man. How's everything going? We'd love to chat with you. Let's catch up, right? Like, or voice. Like, if you do voice, like whether you have an Android or an Apple, like there's voice. You can do voice. Messenger has voice. Take a video, right? Hey, Johnny, wanted to say what's up, man. I see all the exciting things you do. Let's catch up, brother. Or hey, Sharon, I see you got, the baby pets running. You got the team out there. I saw your truck. Would love just to catch up and see what's new, right? Get personal. You have the opportunity. Once you start building that flow, you have a blue ocean of people that want to get to know you and talk to you because your personality is amazing. You're interested, you're a breath of fresh air to who they are and what they're doing. You give a different professional perspective, and they want to be around like-minded people. So be like-minded and be the resource, be the trusted business advisor to them. And when you're on the phone, keep it fun, keep it light, keep it professional, keep it with confidence, keep it with swag. Listen. You don't want them to look like that, of just hearing you yap. Two-way conversations, ask questions, open-ended conversations. Your job is to listen, not for them to listen. Your job's to listen, right? And here's just another framework of how you can go about, right, as you are going more in depth into the conversation. In depth is based on the Bridging the Gap framework, how you met them or refer to them, whether you're starting out by email, getting into text or messenger, whether you're graduating from messenger into phone, Zoom to in person. You have to keep all these things in mind. And it's so important that whether they do business with you or not, you become the student. Just say, would you mind sharing a few things on how, what your thoughts are? Could you help me understand where this, may not fit into the way you do business? I would love to learn a little bit more so I can, right, maybe in the future collaborate with you or maybe show you the next iteration of what I'm putting together. Yeah, John, it's not you, it's me, it's the time, or, I don't really it fits into our business, or we want more SMS. We don't want to do web chat. We want okay. We'd rather have email answered, right? So you get to really understand how you need to customize and replan your positioning, or maybe how you're gonna, throw that ball next. And you can pick up. It doesn't have to be on the one call. Just no problem. And you got my number. Let's catch up. Text me, call me if you come up with an idea. If I come up with an idea, I see something, I'll let you know. Make that business owner friend at the end of the day. You make a business owner friend, you're in good hands. If you're following along with me and you believe what I'm sharing with you, if you believe what I'm sharing with you will add value to your conversation or to your strategy to make a business owner friend as a trusted business advisor, go ahead and type in the chat business owner friends. And that's just, in total, from positioning statement to the framework, bridging the gap, listening, outreach, Dream 100. If you believe all those components will help you make business owner friends, go ahead and type in the chat business owner friends. And if you disagree or think we might be missing something, please share your input. Share it with me, because we're going to go through it and we're going to start making adjustments and right, pivot as needed. But keep in mind, this is designed to be for someone that's like not 100% there or not able to be 100% committed because they're in different parts of their journey. So we wanted to make a nice playing field for everybody. But there is definitely more context and more in depth that we could be going in, right? So it's all in the follow-up, right? It's all in the follow-up. Whether you've experienced it as a customer with a business, Whether you've experienced it with RSVPs for a birthday party, a family event, right? You have an RSVP date, but no one always, sends it right on time. You might have to, hey, just want to nudge you. Are you still coming? Or I haven't heard from you. Are you still coming? Or hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. Are you okay? Hey, how's everything been? I haven't heard from you. I haven't seen you. The follow-up. The follow-up is not designed to be, hey, look, we spoke last Tuesday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. I put together my 13-point agenda. I put together my 52-page report. I put together the strategy that's going to make you a bunch of money. Have you had a chance yet to speak with your bookkeeper and send over that check? That's not follow-up. That's just like click, right? You want this to be business owner friend transitioning into business transaction of growing, learning, and helping their business. So you'll get the feeling of where you're at in the friendship or the business relationship. Overall goal, right? Get on the rocket ship like Hailey. You want to prioritize personalization. You want to understand their needs. You want to revolve around their needs. You don't want to make it like you're taking advantage of their vulnerability. You don't want to make it seem like you're throwing things in their face. You want to just be a genuine, caring business person that wants to make business friends, business peers, and you feel and understand that you can help them grow their business, right? And genuine connections will come from it. You'll be able to help them, whether it's a beta, paying client with a gateway offer, paying client with a core offer, paying client with an expansion offer, or an existing client that expanded and now is going into a downsell offer as needed. This works for everybody, prospect to client. Now I want to expand here as we're wrapping towards the end of our training here. I want to expand into some virtual networking. When I was working for one of the companies I was at before, I was there for 6 years. And at the time when I started, door to door was the core way of growing your business. Door to door was going down Main Street, side street. At that time, social marketing wasn't a thing. Networking wasn't a thing. It was just go door to door. Here's your book of business, make new friends, make new relationships, and go, just go door to door, period. Go figure it out. And I did that. But what I also did was I started making a lot of business owner friends. And I was walking down Main Street. I was learning all their names. And I was getting introduced to other people. And then I was introduced to networking. Now, this right before when COVID hit, we went virtual networking, which became like a huge, big, magical part for businesses. But prior to that, it was still around. Now, virtual networking still exists. It's still a core way of meeting people. And there are many, many great groups of people out there that have small groups networking, mastermind style networking, and then like community fee-based networking where they charge you like, per visit, they charge you per month, or they charge you annually, right? And these are some of the ones that I've personally used and I've experienced. With BNI, I've been a guest to many, many groups. I've made friends with many directors that started off as, just networkers, and then they became like they grew within the networking space. Now they're directors of the networking group. They have their own chapters, right? You don't have to do that. But knowing those folks and making relationships gets you more introductions. Latip is right next to BNI. They're both same style, right? But they're in different markets, right? They're in different markets, or maybe one has a different theme or format than the other. People gravitate to what fits them. HNP is amazing. The Happy Networking Project. I don't know any of them personally there, but I've joined their groups, and there's so many beautiful, great people with big hearts. They meet every day. You should Google it. They have like a whole calendar page where it's like Tuesday through Friday, and they are on fire. You make so many friends, breakout sessions. Like I'm not endorsing any of these. I'm just telling you that there's communities out there from these three all the way to Meetup, Eventbrite, Google search, all there to be a resource for virtual networking, whether you are in far part of the country where it's dark right now, or far part of this of the United States where, we're 3 hours behind and it's Mountain Standard Time or Pacific Standard Time or Eastern Standard or Central Time. Like, you get to pick. It's all there. Doesn't matter where you're from or what language you speak. There are for everybody. I will say, though, there's nothing like in-person networking if you're available and able to do so, right? And I've done all of what I'm saying here. I've participated in, I've created in some way, shape, or form, and I can firsthand tell you that local chamber of commerces are a hidden gem. The most nicest, greatest people within communities go to those and are a part of those. They sponsor events, they sponsor luncheons, they help their student communities, they help their elderly communities. Be a part of one near you. Industry associations are amazing if you're getting ready to jump into a niche, painting niche, plumbing niche, HVAC niche, whatever niche you're jumping into, chiropractic niche. The industry association's legal niche. They are educating their members. There is a fee to be a part of it. They do vet you out. It is a little bit more of a longer application process, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it. Then you have small freelance business networking groups. Like if I put one together, it's a once a month or once a week. It's free, whatever that is. People create those on their own. They typically promote them in two areas, on Google through Eventbrite, Meetup, or on Facebook events. Facebook events, typically there as well. Then you have professional meetup groups like the BNI, the LaTips, membership-based, where they're typically one category for an annual fee, mandatory requirements around participating in referrals, participating in attendance, being in good standing, code of conduct, all these things for those professional meetup groups. Then you have like one-off business networking events. In New Jersey, I ran one, like I had a bunch of vendors and I grew my reputation in my area when I was in sales outside because I put like a bunch of people together at a beautiful outdoor place and free entry and networking and business owners were getting exposure. Like you can go creative as that, or you can rent a office or partner with a business owner or someone that has an office and bring people together to do one at their office. As we get into trade shows and expos, they become a little bit more of an investment, but they are worth it. But you have to have a little bit of a different strategy. So keep in mind when you're at trade shows and expos, it's around vendor tables and typically big, big settings. So whether it's the Jacob Javits Center, it's other centers throughout the country and in major cities. People are spending premium to have tables, to have 10 by 10 sections. It's a big investment for them. So they're not always excited about you pitching them something. But what they will do at those events is they'll attract other like-minded people. They'll have networking stations. They'll have education stations. They'll have after parties. They'll have gatherings. If there's one in your local area, I recommend attend. Pay the small fee to go in as a ticket. But if you're traveling out of state for one, just understand what you're going to get from it because you can spend a pretty dollar on it. Local business events might be, a church hosting something, a professional group. They come in different styles and people. Professional development workshops. There's amazing groups like the SBDC, the National Chamber of Commerce. There's these organizations that they give grants, they help people, they bring like-minded business owners together with the intent of connecting them to grow their business. And those typically are maybe a fee or there's some criteria. And then you have university and college alumni events. If you are part of a previous university or college, a trade school, some sort of professional certificate provider, they typically bring people together. They're great for meeting folks, but also to just stay up to date. This is a big part of success for a lot of folks that are able to do so. If you are tracking with me and you understand and you see the value in this, go ahead and type in #networking. #networking. And if you're not 100% tracking, that's fine. I want you to be vocal. Go ahead and share Q and your question or ask, what you may need more context on, and we'll get it for you. There's no scarcity with the amount of information we give out at high level. Okay. Thank you all for jumping in there. Appreciate it. Right. How do I search for these? This is how you search for these types of events, right? It's great to talk about the opportunity, the strategy, but this is how you take action. Action is key. Jump on Google, Bing, whatever search engine. Results will vary. So, what Google results have, Bing results, Facebook results will be different, because keep this in mind, the event organizers will not always go through a checklist. They might just pick one area to promote the event and then do other marketing to their database. So there's a lot of variations. Make sure you add the location, the city, the region. That's important. Use filters, because sometimes old events still pop up. So make sure you look at the date, you look at the description, so that way you're not driving or making plans and then this was like from last year. That happens. Been there, done that. Explore event websites like eventbrite.com, meetup.com, Facebook event marketplace. In Facebook, you click the hamburger, there'll be an event section. Sort it by your area, sort it by your date. You'll be surprised what you see. And then look at local sites, like your local newspaper, your local Tap Local, your local. We all have our local magazines, our local info sites, message boards, moms groups, dads groups, Facebook groups by your town. There's so many nuggets, because here's the problem. People have a great event, they have great intention, but they don't know where to promote it all the time. So there as well, event organizers are a great person to partner with, to have a joint venture with, where you help them set up their process, and then maybe they spotlight you at their event. So now we're meeting people. We got a great database. We have great relationships. It's now time for the demo, right? It's time to show them what we got. When we demo, we're going to demo our AI chat website that we showed you how to create. We're going to tweak the questions. We want them to ask questions that we have answers to. So you will need to update your document if something is not detailed enough. But we want to do the demo from the phone, from the screen share, from their computer, from their remote screen, whatever it is. Just let them go to the website and see it in action. I could also do this for you. And that'll start opening up their thought process. And as you customize the demo, like we talked about in the Bridge to Graph framework, we start to customize it based on the needs of their business, how they're doing business. And we start to tailor it towards industry best practices, things they may be doing at a minimal level. How do we optimize, customize, and grow your business within the community? And it's important when you're demoing this, you demo it with positivity, a smile, and forward thinking. Remember, if it slows down for you, it could be their Wi-Fi. It could be their area. That's fine. But it's still going to be faster than what their staff member or them is going to do. And then you can pivot and say, hey, look, let me update some of these settings. Actually, my last client wanted to see a little bit more human-like, which was a little bit more of a delay. Let me change some settings here. While I'm doing that, let me show you the settings. Right? That's how you know you're getting good. You're able to pivot naturally. Let me show you the settings. Check this out. And get right to it. Don't do this should have worked well. Don't go that route. It's like going to Broadway, someone making a mistake. You never know on Broadway if they made a mistake. They just keep it moving. You're going to keep it moving. And then you want to engage them with some questions. What are your thoughts? Joey, what are your thoughts on this? Let me get in your brain. What are you thinking? How do you think you could make this help you, where you're not tying up, your dispatcher to answer, the most basic questions over and over and over? Help me understand how you feel about this, right? And getting into that encouragement, that interaction, and chopping it up. Just having a good two-way conversation. Good two-way conversation. And then you're taking their feedback, their interest, active listening, you're recapping it, you're repeating it, not word for word. with some swag, finesse, and professionalism. So help me understand if I'm on the right track, Joe. You want more new homeowners that are moving in. You want more new homeowners that opted out of the home inspection that now have to like figure out how they're going to get a new system because it's getting chilly or super hot. You have no way of kind of doing that now. You're open to learning more, but your concern is time, pricing, and you're not tech savvy. Am I tracking with you the right way here? Am I missing anything? Nah, John, you're 100% on the ball, man. What do you got for me? All right, and they're gonna like there's different ways to pass the ball. They're gonna like, what do you got for me? Right? Or they're gonna do one of these. Yeah, how about that? Show me what you got. Like they're gonna like almost challenge you and like say, take that one. How are you gonna make that one work now? Like as you start to develop these friendships, like you're gonna like, oh my gosh, like does this person know I'm here to help them? They're not used to it. They are not used to you helping. They're used to someone, hey, show me your wallet. Hey, let's get you going now. They're used to that. They're not used to help, friends, relationships. So just keep that in mind. Don't take it personal. So I want to get into a little face-to-face here. We covered a lot. We covered a lot. And we probably started like this, but now we're like this, right? And we're like this because there's two things. One, my head is throbbing. You threw too much at me. I don't know where to start. Actually, you scared me from even wanting to do this. I thought this was much more simpler. Or it's, all right, man, what's next? What's the homework? Like, what do we got to do? I'm not good at sales or I'm not the best at sales, but I'm open to learning and, putting some of this framework to work. Either way, it's okay. Either way, it's okay. And I want to remind you, this is where community and support come into play. Community and support come into play right now. And that's in the 5-day Facebook AI group is where the community jumps in to support you. And then the support, the speakwith.us/success, those superheroes behind the scenes are the ones that are going to get you fast-tracked and overcoming some of those uphill battles that you might be experiencing or have some fear about. But fear is the number one reason why people don't take action. So don't let fear get in your way. You got the Facebook community. You got Meet Tomorrow. You got the chat here. But I want to push you and lean you over to speakwith.us/success. Okay. I do get some messages from time to time. I promise to get back to you. But after this and throughout my day-to-day, we're doing a bunch of different initiatives for our community. So it's hard to respond to everybody the same moment. I promise you, I see it. We'll get back to you and our team will help you thereafter. But don't lean on something that you don't have control over. You have control over speakwith.us/success. So that being said, let's get into the homework that is going to be expected of you to do. So for those that are just joining in, that just got access to the group, I know who you are, right? Because, right, when you run a Facebook group, it tells you who's new. There's a handful of you that haven't posted a photo or a video. You know who you are. It's okay. Doesn't have to be the most recent photo, the latest photo, the most wild video. You don't need a video. You should just showcase your personality a little bit. So the folks that are in there have the permission to reach out to you or at least comment and be engaging with you. So I want you to go to day one. I want you to post in the Facebook group a photo or a video, share a little bit about your story, why you took the challenge, and get that ball rolling. Okay? Then I want you to go, if you're just joining us and getting access, go to day one, check. Day two, check. Day three is today. I want you to go through now, be prepared to challenge yourself that it's not going to be a straight line to all the contacts. There's going to be some squiggly, some doubts, I don't know if I should reach out to them or whatever. That's fine, but you got to make a list of your potential prospects. And I go back in the video, gave you all the how-tos. Then you got to go find a local or an in-person online networking event. You got to participate in one at least. Put it on your calendar, show up, listen, have your introduction ready, and just make a friend, right? Perfect. Then I want you to start like commenting on some posts from your friends, sending some text messages. If you're not having at least 5 conversations a day at the basic level, you're not going to get momentum. You need 5, 10, 15 plus more. And again, everyone's situation is different, but you have to have more than 5 conversations and work towards that. And then I want you to practice, whether it's your phone, hit record, pretend you're talking to it, whether it's a mirror. I prefer the phone or the Zoom recording because I can go back and, like, even though we all cringe when we hear ourselves, I'd rather cringe and know that my eyes were like this, right? Or I was like looking like all nervous and crazy. I want to know what I look like a little bit so I can control and practice my flow. And I want you to start doing the same. And what you're going to notice here real quick is that you're going to start getting this rhythm, right? It's like when you're in the car and you're driving, your favorite song pops on and you know the words. Like you go from, and then you go from like, I know, like you start spitting fire. Like you know what the words are. It's just different energy. You have a different connection with the song. I want to get you to the part where you have that connection with your pitch, your conversation, you're building rapport, you're bridging the gap, and you feel great. Because if you feel great there, everything else is easy peasy. Results may vary, but your action matters the most. So we have tons of questions. I want you to share with me whether it's 1 word, 3 words, a sentence, or an emoji, how you feel after today's session. I want you to give it to me real. How you feel after today's session. Be respectful, but give it to me real. If you felt it was great, tell me it was great. If you felt it was, I liked it. I get it. I understand. I know it already, but I appreciate you, right? Let me know how you feel about it. I'm opening up with you now because I have no fear. I know what I'm doing. I want to know if I'm coming across that way with you so you can be better at what you need to do. Because my success aligns with your goals and what you're doing within our challenge. I appreciate you all. It's been fun. Shout out to all the high levelers behind the scenes that make this product amazing for folks like you. Shout out to our leadership, our support team, the folks that service all of our customers, whether it's through chat, messaging, phone, email, all of our affiliates, all of our customers, all of our new users, all of our folks that are looking from the sidelines, debating if this is for them. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you at High Level, and we look forward to hitting you with some fire on day 4 as we get into onboarding fulfillment. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Catch you later.